to this computer. Okay.
Yes, please.
There it is.
Sorry for the recording that just started. Hi, Tuesday peeps. Love you. Hi. We have been talking about what energies to call into detox and manage your energetic field and to cleanse your space. That our energetic maintenance is super important, that we need to sage much more often, that we should rose water much more often, that we should pay attention to our homes, our bodies, our minds, our spirits, etc., as needed, but on a much bigger frequency and regularity. Hey, Gracie, stay. Sorry, we have people again. Good. Stay. Okay, so Karen, I just switched over to purple really quick, and I started recording just to let you know. Now that Karen's back, let me go back to yellow, and then I'll throw the purple questions back at you in just a second. So coming back to yellow for just a second, Joe and Christine have been telling us that, you know, two of the colors that you pull in for your environment and detoxification, one of the big ones is yellow, right? And I always use yellow to cleanse my home, to brighten it up, to lighten it up, to clear the shadows, to clear ignorance. Can you guys hear me? Because my Wi-Fi seems to be jumping around a little bit.
I'm in and out a little bit.
Okay, give me 1 second. Grace went inside and I don't want to worry about her anymore. So as we went into yellow, we were saying that, you know, yellow is used to detox ignorance. And when you do that in the mind, it turns the shadow mind of ignorance into awareness. And when you take it into the energetics, the emotional part of you, which is more about emotion and not about emotions, feelings, but about energies in motion, which are forces, right? Forces. And that when you go into the heart, you're really activating the love wisdom, the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the guru inside of you, the master inside of you's consciousness. So it's a consciousness that is love. Love is consciousness. Consciousness is love. They are one and the same. And so when you go into the energetic part of your being and you yellow out, what you're doing is you're creating from emotional heaviness, enlightenment and delightfulness. And you are able to feel joy and feel happiness and feel higher vibrational feelings. And the feeling of wisdom is the sense of awe and rapture and connection to beauty and like, wow, like that, wow, wonderful feeling. And you're in a state of wonder and awe. And there's just beauty everywhere. And that beauty allows you to fall in love with it, you know, and it's all beautiful. You feel like yourself. You feel like your most natural, lightful self, full of light. So your mind becomes mindful and your heart becomes heartful and you feel full, right? And then your mind and your heart unite together, creating this like symbiotic relationship between your heart and your mind. And now they're operating as one system, as opposed to in a state of disconnection, which is really, 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 really important for being your higher self. Like you can't have your mind doing one thing and your heart doing another thing and your head's going this way and your heart's going that way. And like, that's what that feels like, right? So bringing those two parts of you together and really opening you up to your true spirit and letting your spiritual mind come in and your spiritual heart come in and your spiritual embodiment come in, that creates a really awesome detoxification, right? So in your physical body, in the existence field, in the third dimension, when we into our actions, into our doingness, and into our physicality, our beingness, the yellow comes in and it makes you be a master, right? It makes you be enlightened. It makes you be your higher consciousness. It embodies, I'll use that word again, Christhood. I think it's a word that we're all pretty familiar with. It's not really an easy one to understand, even if you're familiar with it, because oftentimes it's kind of, oh, like Christ was Christ-like, right? Like how am I supposed to be? So it's better to say higher self-like, but I'll use the words Christ-like. So your higher self embodies into you and you become this like radiance. You become this brilliant force field broadcasting this incredible force of light that is based on love wisdom. So the right word to say in the body is, I am light. I am actualized light. And therefore, all darkness cannot exist around the light, right? When there's light, you cannot have darkness. So that's basically the gist of yellow, which means in the physical form, we oftentimes call that toxicity, right? Like there's toxicity, there's something that needs to be cleaned up that is misqualified energy. But I can really use toxicity and detoxification as another word for transmutation also. So I'm going to use that as a general kind of a term as opposed to a specifically yellow term. Okay. And then anybody got any questions about yellow and how that actually lightens you up, brightens you up, brings in your higher selfiness, unites your heart, Christ consciousness, Christ heart, Christ mind, Christ body, higher self body, heart, mind, spirit. Are we all good? Questions? In other words, you become beauty itself. You become radiance itself. You're not just someone who radiates. You are radiance. You're not just someone who feels awesome. You are awesome. You are wonderful, full of wonder, wonderful. You are beautiful, full of being you, which is absolutely beautiful. Okay, that's the qualities that you embody when you're yellow. And then with that, your beauty becomes your sword. The light of you becomes your expression of your yellow. And I don't want to call it a sword necessarily, because usually on the yellow ray, they don't hand you yellow swords, but what they hand you is beams of light, balls and spheres. And those become your concentrators and your focusers and your distributors. The lighthouse is the Jophiel image that I always get. Like he beams that shit stronger than any sword ever could. He likes being a lighthouse better than he likes being a sword pointing, right? So, but it's the equivalent. And Christine concentrates it in and she holds the light so intense, she puts everything into it, right? So she literally creates these spheres that harness all the light, and wherever she puts it, like the light of God gets concentrated into that space. And it doesn't have to be a small space. It can be as big as a planet. It can be as big as a universe. Like there's a sphere of yellow holding all the consciousness that ever was and ever will be and ever was. Right? So yellow is extremely powerful. And as a reminder for the recording, Jophiel said that the power of the light, I asked him to give me a word, and he said, think of this like light cannot be broken. A beam of light is unstoppable. It is unbreakable. It can be bendable. It can be refracted and reflected. It can be dispersed and distributed. It can be magnified, but it cannot be broken. A beam of light cannot be broken. One of the incredible forces of the universe. Okay. So having said all of that and broken it down like the mind, the heart, and the body, I'm going to invite you guys to work it out. What does the violet flame actually do? What is its transmutational activity? What is its purpose? And there's a lot of different purposes, but they all kind of come down to like a category, right? So do your best, work together, and I'll fill in the blanks when you guys are ready.
Well, I started off by saying I think justice and injustice are themes in the Purple Ray, how to bring justice to injustice. And there's a sense of righteousness in that ray also. What is the thing of integrity to do? What is the righteous thing to do in a situation?
I like both of those statements. I agree with you 100%. Let's go a little deeper. What do you mean by righteousness in the mind? How does that play out? What do you mean by righteousness in the heart? How does that play out? What do you mean by righteousness in the body? How does that play out?
Righteousness in the mind would be doing the thing that you know is the correct thing to do in the situation, the just thing to do in the situation. Righteousness in the heart.
How do you measure justice and rightness?
The highest and best in the situation.
For who?
For whomever is involved. For whatever the situation is. I think that's not a broad statement. It's like, look at the situation, look at your involvement in the situation. What you're attempting to do is the highest and best in that situation for those involved, including yourself.
According to who, though? Who gets to say what the rightest thing to do is?
I think it filters through your higher self, through your Christ self, through your prayer, through your whatever. I think at least I try to lean into, tell me what it would be the highest and best in this situation. What is it I believe will be the highest and best in this situation? Being in my highest self, not the egoic part of me.
You're doing such a great job. I'm just leading you to like the last little piece you haven't thrown in yet. So the highest and best for who?
Everybody.
So, I would think.
Including yourself. Yeah, everybody.
Okay, so I'm gonna phrase it a little bit differently. Yes, you're correct. For all is the word that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's not everybody
For
in the
all.
situation is what you were saying. Everybody in the situation. No, it's not about everybody in this situation. It's the highest and best beyond this situation. This situation needs to go a certain way to serve the even greater, bigger divine plan unfolding. So even if it looks like we lost the battle to win the war, then I'm going to support losing the battle. You understand what I mean by that? So high best is not always easily perceived in the zoomed in space. So it's highest best for the good of all, according to the divine plan unfolding. Right? And I've got a perfect movie metaphor for this. And I don't know if everybody saw the movie. Okay. But in the movie The Avengers, which I loved, and I'm watching again for some reason. But anyway, watching the Avengers movie, I just happened to put it on again last night. So in the Avengers movie, one of the characters that comes in is Doctor Strange, who holds the stone that regulates time. He's got the power stone for time. So he can look to the past, he can look to the future. And at one moment in time, they're in the middle of this like gigantic, like fight for the universe kind of a battle. And he sits there and he goes into meditation, which I love that was in a movie. So like he sits there in meditation and his head's like, and you can see he's like looking at shit, right? And he starts looking at all the outcomes and he literally scans through, I think he said like 14 billion different outcomes based on if this decision gets made, then that one gets made, then that one gets made, and it's a different path. He checks out all the outcomes and he says there is one path where we win, one out of 14 billion. And then he makes his next decision based on what he can do. And then he has to let go. Everybody else has to make their own decision, right? But he's like, but now I saw that and I have to align with that, right? And then even throughout the movie, going to the third movie of that whole saga, even at the end of it, there's this moment where he looks at Tony Stark and he's like, because Tony's up to making a decision. He could do this or he could do that. And he looks at Tony and he's like, there's only one way that this happens. Right. And then he makes that choice and he wins the war. But my point being, the metaphor that I'm talking about is, had they done anything different at any given moment because they thought their highest and best and the right thing to do was righter for their outcome or their thought of this would be bester, as opposed to, no, this is the ultimate goal and we are only ever serving the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal on Violet is
justice.
What is the ultimate goal on the Violet Ray?
Justice, righteousness.
Those are the ways to get there. What is the ultimate goal?
Freedom.
Okay. Explain.
Balance.
And justice for all.
Balance, justice for all. I like that you threw justice for all in there. Good job. It sounds familiar, right? Freedom and justice for all. And you're absolutely right. That's one of the goals, right? Freedom and justice for all. And ultimately, Joann, you're absolutely right. Balance, but there's another word here. There's another word. Why do we take all this out of balanced, injustice, karmic, distorted? I'm trying not to use the word that I'm trying not to tell you, because I want you to find it. what is the one word that you would put as the umbrella word to describe all the out of whack that the violet flame fixes?
Sovereignty.
Nope. Sovereignty I would put into white, right? But
Okay.
explain it to me. I think what you mean is independence.
Yes. Or it's independence. So the ability to rule your own world, to be your own master of your own world.
Right. Which I would call also authority and the expression of your own sovereign, I'll use your word, your sovereign right to rule your realm, right? Which is your spiritual authority bestowed upon you. Yes, but that again falls under the umbrella word that I'm looking for.
Liberty?
No, that's still freedom. But yes, it's under the umbrella. You guys are great. You're talking about all the aspects and layers of violet. I'm very proud of you.
Transmutation.
That's the activity that converts each thing under the umbrella from the negative to the positive.
I don't know.
I know it's a tricky one. I'm gonna say it to you. You're really like, oh yeah, of course. I've heard you say that many times, right? Proof, good word. Proof sounds very scientific. I might borrow that word on Green Ray.
No, what I said was truth.
Truth.
What justice is, and truth is what Purple Way is all about. Let us bring justice and truth to.
So let me put it this way. Okay, so A is the cleaner upper of the mental relationship between the internal you, individualized, and the external field of life you, that is your life. And the golden ruby ray is the bridge between the internal energetic feelings of you and the external feelings of you, which are a universe of collective abundance and goodness, and that synchronistic flow to unite from the inside to the outside. So it's the emotional connection, right, between you and the field, the life. The violet flame is the bridge between you, the individual, and your expression of power over the field and inside the field of life, which is a field of experience, which is what we call the karmic field, right? The grand totality collective of experience, right? And how do we divide experience? How do we categorize it in a world of duality, which is this human experience, right? We say experience is either a good experience or a bad experience. Usually we put it into one of two categories. It's a good one, I like it. And that one, nah, I don't need to do it again, right? But in the field of karma, in the spiritual journey that we're on, you are going to have one of every experience. No experience is actually really good or really bad. They're all equally.
Say it again. You froze somewhere.
It didn't froze. I silenced. I'm waiting for you to find the word. Nothing is ever.
You're freezing now.
Okay. Let me know. Okay. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So nothing is actually good or bad. If it's not good or bad in a dualistic system, it is then called what in a higher system? No matter like all of the field of experience, whether we want to judge it as good or bad, whether we want to label it as good or bad, it is all absolutely
neutral.
Nope. Starts with a P.
They're killing us. Come on.
Peace, or a P word that means neutral. But I think it's like not matter.
Is the word used on this ray or on the golden ruby ray?
Golden ruby. Thank you.
So that's a golden ruby ray word. So what is the P word that I use on this ray?
P for violet.
I don't know. Prosperity. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I've got to go look it up.
Holly, no, go look it up in your heart. I'm not trying to stress you guys out, but if I tell you, it's not gonna stick. Okay, I'm not trying to torture you. I promise you.
What did Karen say?
She said peace, and then she said prosperity.
Okay.
We know it's not prosperity.
Take a deep breath, everybody. Take a deep breath. Go into your wisdom heart. It's not
Is it a phrase or a single word?
a single word. If it's not good and it's not bad, it's all.
Perfect.
Thank you. Ding,
What's
ding,
the word?
ding, 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 ding. Perfect.
Would you
All
say?
good.
All
What did you say?
Perfect.
Perfect.
It's all perfect. It's all perfect. The violet flame seeks to restore divine perfection. I know that's annoying. Just take a deep breath. Don't be annoyed by it.
No, I'm not.
And it wasn't in my notes.
I knew it would come from
Precision was in it.
perfection. And you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So it restores perfection from imperfection. It takes embodied energy that has been qualified, or I should say misqualified by lower vibrational things, such as judgments, such as false righteousness, such as the wrong use of power, the wrong use of might, the wrong use of authority. It gets qualified and it gets cleaned up and restored back to divine perfection. So we are in an ultimate clean it up kind of a flame, right? Like it is the ultimate divine perfection restoration. Restoration is not a word I like to use, but it is the perfecter of all things. And in order to really comprehend the capacity of the violet flame, I almost have to say that if you've read all the books out there about the violet flame, you have to let all that shit go, because that was so accurate, but 101 30, 40 years ago. That was all it did back then, is take something negative and turn it into positive. But the vocabulary about this is that vocabulary does not cover enough what we need to understand about the capacity of the violet flame. And it changes the experience field. It changes the field of experience, not just your feeling about the experience, not just your idea about the experience. It actually changes the actual field of karma, the actual field of experience. You are magically altering and alchemizing your field of experience and perfecting the field of experience for yourself personally and for the collective, and at the ultimate level for all. You are perfecting life itself for the higher divine perfect plan that is unfolding here every time you call the violet flame. And now here's how to get to that kind of power, because that's intense, right? Like it's so intense. So when you get to that level, you have to, first and foremost, the first thing you've got to do is you got to pick up your sword, and you got to know that you have the fucking right to use it. You have the right to be you. You have the right to maneuver this field of experience. You have a right to wield this flame. That's the righteousness in here. It is not only your right. What's next after having the right to do it? It's not just your right. It's your duty. You signed up for this. Not only were you granted the permission, given the tools, taught how to use them, you were signed up for it like it's your duty, like it's your mission, like it's your contribution. Like you've not only got the right to do it, you've got the right to do it on behalf of everyone. Take a minute and just swallow that for a second. And I don't crank up the heat on Violet this intense with everybody. You guys know this, right? Like I go gentle. I'm like, hey, be a spiritual authority. Have you taken responsibility over that? Are you wielding your light? No, I'm talking to warriors. Like you guys are my peeps. Okay? Drop a pin in this room right now. I can hear it. Like everybody's like, mm.
So are you saying it's our duty to send the violet flame to our government and all the leaders of our country and all the leaders of our world to do it every day? It's our duty.
Nope. I'm saying it's your duty to be the violet flame.
To be the violet flame, not just to use it, to be the violet flame.
And you are not to use it to manipulate the government, the world, the systems, the organizations. You are not to use it because you think something would be right. You are to use it in any way. It's more like saying, I'm going to offer it to the fields.
Okay.
And the ray itself will find its own justice. I don't get to decide its justice. I don't get to decide that I need to win this battle and that's what's going to win this war.
But it won't hurt it, will it?
You can't hurt it because if you're manipulating it, it all gets shut down. So you may as well not even bother. So yes, you have to self-check. And yes, you have to get your ego out of it. And yes, you have to get your preferences out of it. And yes, that's one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
Right? So all you need to do is be an open conduit for the violet flame. It has its own agenda. And the same thing goes for this ray as any other ray. You just open the channel and let it exist within you. You hold the flame and it does its thing. You open the door to God and it comes through and you just let the light shine in the world. You are not telling the light how to shine. You are not telling the world how to receive it. You are not the manifester of the grand totality outcome. You don't even have a vision of perfection. We don't have the plan in our hands. We are the plan. Be here, open the channel, increase the amount of divine healing source energies on the planet. Open the gates, open the channels. Imagine as every one of us opens up our channels, puts in our roots and spreads our branches and connects to God above and connects to God below and expands our field as much as possible. We are one more cord between the 3D and the 12th dimension. That's the job. It's not about me deciding that that one should do this and that one should do that and this is better than and that thing. No, that's you taking a human system of judging and saying that best.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I promise you, if you look at history, we've lost a lot of fucking battles, but we're going to win the war. You could look at and say, well, that was a failure and that was a failure and that was a failure. But the energy of the violet flame knows only one thing, and that is victoriousness. And victoriousness is only measured in the grand totality at the final outcome. And again, Avengers. A lot of bad decisions, a lot of wrong moves got made for the one and only outcome that saved the world. So to judge it from zooming in, it's a waste of time. That's where your trust comes in. That's the blue inside of your purple, right? You've got to trust. You've got to trust that the power of the love, regulated, equalized between feminine and masculine, alpha and omega at the highest level, twin flame at the lowest human level, fifth dimensional, twin flaming. The balance between your blue and your purple, the equalization of your two forces only operates to create perfection and victoriousness. It is the ultimate of all things.
It gets so confusing because then if you pray for someone, are you judging that something's wrong with them? I mean, I get confused sometimes, Leanne.
Say that again, Holly. When you pray for them, what?
You know, are you judging them that they're so sick that you want them to heal, that, you know, you're sending them healing? And it's like, I feel like is that judging them?
No, it's deciding. It's interpreting what you're seeing. But yes, there is a judgment in there that something is wrong. It's not really, yes, you could use it as a word of judgment, but I'd backtrack you to Green Ray on that one. I'd say you are delusional. You're not looking at truth, right? Like the truth is that body, that system in their body, that organ in their body is transmuting something energetically through their physical instrument of divine transmutation. Your body is a divine instrument for transmutation. It transmutes toxicity. Every organ in your body knows how to heal itself. It is built into your systems. Now, the fact that the body gets overwhelmed with the massive amount of toxicity in this world, including the massive amount of stress and not nearly enough spiritual energy, not nearly enough love, of any right real kind, not nearly any kind of fresh breath or the consciousness and the teachings to say, hey, you know what? Just, it's okay. This is okay. Everything's okay. Just breathe, take your time, relax. Karen bumped her toe. She's all riled up. She wants to go and like fight everything in this 5 minutes. And I don't mean to throw you under the bus here, Karen, but like there's a lot of rage that comes up anytime your body is offline. You're like, what the fuck? I'm a healer. And she's got green ray energy all over her. Like for a healer to have something wrong with them, God, if you sneeze, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And you stress out about it and you forget your perfection, right? Like you forget your wholeness, you forget your homeostasisness, you forget, I don't want to use the word perfection because I'll keep that for purple, but you forget your nature. And when you are too stressed out, your body has every right to give you a flu. So you'll sit the fuck still and it can rest and heal itself. And that's exactly what happened. You look at anybody who catches a cold, catches a flu. The reason you are susceptible to it, other than if you have a really shit immune system, it's not because you're doing a bad, you're probably too stressed out and you have not taken care of yourself. That's it. So your body's going to do it for you. Go ahead. Now you got a temperature. Sit your ass down and hold still so I can love on you. And so I can regulate this shit. And I don't have to use my energy to go and do work. And then I don't have to go and talk to people. And I don't have to cook myself dinner. I'm just getting my chicken soup. That's, like I got delivered and that's it. We're about me for 5 minutes. That's what your body's saying. It's like, hey, you haven't maintained me. Let's stop this shit for a second. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with cancer. The body has absorbed a certain amount of stress. It has put it exactly in the place of the body that is designed to heal that. Most appropriately, this organ that handles that emotion that is the cause of this kind of cancer, it is now finding its way into that part of your body, which is united with the chakra that would be the one that would heal it. Or it finds the weakest part of your body because that's where it's just like, unfortunately, your system is the weakest. Why does Karen keep hitting her right foot? Because every single time something happens, she gets it on her right foot. She has weakness that she hasn't built back up in her grids and in her energetic system in that area. So if something's going to come to her, that's the softest point in her shield. And what'd you say, Holly?
What I was asking was, when you pray for someone, and I wasn't talking about me, I was talking about a friend that broke stuff. Is that a judgment like sending the violet ray? Can you compare it to sending the violet ray to the governments? Is it the same thing? Is her breaking stuff in perfection with whatever she's needed to do? So,
I understand your confusion and I'm going to do my best to answer it. I'm not concerned about how you're praying. I'm concerned about you, the prayer person, the person praying, being in the right state of mind and the right state of heart and the right state of open channeling to be able to be effective. Because if you are not crystal clear, pure, unmanipulative, non-egoic, divine self, just opening my channel to all the forces of love and light in the universe, and then bringing my personal love into alignment for this person, and just being the bridge between source and them, and just like the Reiki thing, just provide the energy. Just provide the energy. But if I look at this person, I go, oh my God, they're fucked up and they're wrong. And there's something's wrong. Oh my God, they got a thing. Oh, not a, oh my God, I'm freaking. Now I'm in fear. I'm not a crystal clear channel if I'm in fear. And if I look at a situation like the world, and let's say I'm like angry about it, or I perceive that personally, like my human says, oh, there's injustice here, or my hands on my hips and I'm like, oh, this isn't right. And again, I'm exaggerating all these things, but not really, because it's open their eyes, look at the world and be like, what the fuck is going on here? That's the golden ruby ray reaction. Like, what the fuck? Seriously, it's more a reaction of indignation. But if I do that, then I cannot be a proper conduit. I have to surrender all of that. I have to surrender all of that.
I understand. I
It's
understand.
like
And
you cannot take it personal.
same, I
Like
was-
it's some.
Oh, hold on. Two of you
with you,
just talking at the same time.
Sorry.
That's okay. Sandra, what did you say?
I said like you cannot take it personal. It's like it's not done
I
to
get
you.
it. I get that.
You know, like
But-
if you see, like you were saying with the government, whatever injustice, but we cannot decide what is right or wrong. We're not the judges of that, and you don't
Okay.
take it personal, even though that you
I
see all that's going. You cannot take it personal because then everything, your energy completely changes, and anything you want to just fix it, and then say, "Well, this is wrong with this, and this is the right way because I say that's the right way." Is that how it is?
You're in.
So, I hear everything all of you are saying.
We're not criticizing you, Holly. Take a deep breath because
I understand everything you're saying, and what I was going to say is this particular person, after we saw you the other day, I sat down and I thought about her, and I looked at her, and you're as far as healing and praying, I did what you said to do, and I looked at her, and I didn't know which side she broke. And I just sat and looked at her, and I could see what side broke, and I could see white lines. And I just sat there and stared at her. And then I saw the green, and then the green did her whole body. It didn't turn, I don't remember if it turned to white or not, but I'm saying.
Holly, can you pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
Pause for 1 second, because what you're referring to is something that I talked to you and Joann about, but I didn't loop in the other Tuesday peeps because that was between the three of us, right? So what she's referring to is I was explaining to them how to be a witness, observer,
Right.
and how to use my conscious awareness to go into somebody's energetic grids and to be a conduit for the race. And I was showing them how to do almost like what some might call medical intuition, but not just intuiting information, moving energy. And the way that I do it, I was trying to show Holly and Joann, like, how is it that I do this? It's not easy for me to explain being me, but what I think that we had a pretty good experience of that, but that's what Holly's talking about. So I don't want everybody to not know what we're talking about. So please continue now that I've explained that.
So I did see that, but what I'm saying is it any different than with the government that I'm looking at things and just looking at it and letting the light go there? I mean, when I hear government, it's a big thing, and it's like so massive that I can't look at the whole thing. But to me, sending any kind of healing would be healing. And I know you're telling me that that's judgment.
No, I'm not telling you anything. Let me finish my sentence and then you'll know what I'm going to say. Okay. What you did with your friends, what you did with Joann when we practiced on her, when you were neutralized, transitional. Thank you, Sandra, for the word. It's not personal. It's not about me. I'm just, when you are transpersonalized and you are pure and you are just the channel and you are not attached to an outcome and you are not emotionally charged or where you might find yourself having a preference, that's exactly what to do. So what you were able to do with your friend, where you were witnessing the rays flowing because of your loving, active presence with that person and her spirit, it is the exact same technique whether you were looking at an injury on a person or whether you're looking at a grand collective, the government, a system, an organization, a family ancestry. You can look at any kind of individual or collective or grand collective, or even if you have the muscle for it, the entire divine plan unfolding across the 14,000 year cycle of evolution that we are currently within in the planet right now, that we're wrapping up with the violet flames last 2,000 years of that 14,000 year plan. If you have that ability to perceive neutralizedly, impersonally, transpersonally at that level. Transpersonally is a much better word because it is personal at the highest level. This is my universe. This is my evolution. I am one with it. That's transpersonal. I'm connected, but I'm not humanly, emotionally preferential.
Okay. I can see where I'm not transpersonal when I said about the government.
And
Okay. I can see the difference now.
and that's what I'm trying to tell you. When you get into the government, there's all this other emotional
Yeah.
stuff that,
Okay.
and that's where you lose all your power. Well, what happens? Let me say it like this. You're not losing all of your power, but you just switched from using 5G to landline.
Gotcha.
Okay. Just stopped running on God's battery and you just started running on yours. Now yours has power. You have strength. You got muscles. You can make it, you can do something. But where you're going to be actually effective when you're in a grand collective like that, until your personal landline muscle is as big as 2G, you're not going to feel yourself making a big difference on such a big grand size scale thing. And
I got
it's going to wear you out. And when you get worn out, next thing you know, your emotions don't have the energy to regulate themselves. And so you're going to get more upset. And your mind doesn't have the energy to regulate itself because you just blew it out on all the collective. And then your mind's going to get stressed out and you're not going to sleep well. And your body's going to get stressed out and it's not going to feel well. It's going to get depleted because your personal energy that you should be using to manage and maintain yourself, especially when you are working at this level, is now being given away to the collective. And I honor that. Like that's like, oh, I want to help. Great. And I think I should help. And I'm called a light worker and it's my duty to help, but that's not where I'm telling you to help from. Right.
Okay.
So there is an art to finding out how do I let that go? And even if some little tiny pocket of me, like I still have a human ego that I'm still working on elevating, right? But like park it in her glove compartment for a minute and leave it there so you can go back to being your divine channel. And then when you're done, go back into that space, go back in the car of the glove, open the glove compartment, deal with your own personal anger and your own opinions about this, which is more a reflection about you and the stuff that you still need to transmute about you, not about what's wrong with the world. Because I promise you, in the violet flame, there is nothing wrong with this world. We are on a path of perfection. We are on a victorious path. We are losing a lot of battles, but we're also making a lot of strides. And we are finally entering the last final phase. We are 5 seconds into violet flaming, and we are all expecting the outcome of 2,000 years worth of violet flaming. It's not in perspective. We are on a path of perfection. We've literally been on the violet flames agenda for November, December, January, 4 months. 4 months. We have been soaking in 100% violet flaming on this planet. 4 months. And we're expecting victory. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we have to not be triggered. We have to not be triggered. You have to become impenetrable to the triggers and the emotional reactivity and the nuclear bombs of like what the fuckedness that you get when you're looking out there. Because it's all a shit show. It's a total fucking swamp. It is egoic manipulation bullshit without exception, except for this beautiful people on the screen when we're at our best.
But Leanne, you have to be, in my opinion, you have to have discernment to see the bullshit before you, whether you react to it or not, but to say this is not real, to me, discernment.
Wait, say that
is,
and hold on. Joann, I lost you. I'm sorry, my thing.
Yeah.
Start again.
Here's the thing. I think one of the things that I need to have is the ability to look at a situation and use discernment, not emotion, discernment to say, this is not for the highest and best in this situation. This is, without saying I'm angry about this or upset about that. There is to me a point where you have to, if everything would be perfection, there would not be this thing going on, this thing with lightness, darkness, and all of that. There seems to be that in every situation, you have to look at a thing and say, use discernment. And I don't hear that in what you're saying. It's like, if you're saying it's all good, ultimately it is all good. But in this particular situation, there is something that is better than something else for me. And I have to have the ability to look at it and see it and then decide what I want to choose. And it doesn't have to be done with a lot of emotions, but I think you have to see, you have to be able to see what's not for the highest and best.
I think, I don't want to interrupt you if you wanted to finish.
No, I'm fine. Yeah.
Give me a second, okay? Really give me a second because I want to find the right words here. I understand your desire to want to know the divine plan unfolding. I understand to know the divine plan unfolding.
I can't, and I understand that I can't know that, but I have a role in, if I decided to be here because I wanted to play a role in the unfoldment of what's happening to humanity on this planet, which is what I think we all did on the screen, then I have to at some point be able to discern where I go or what I do. And if it's just, if you say to me, what you have to do is to be light, then that to me automatically says there is dark.
Okay,
on this planet.
Hold on. I got to jump in. Hold on. And I understand what you're saying, okay? The piece that you're saying is, I have to be the light for the plan to unfold, or for the influence of my light in this moment, in this situation. I have to be for doing something. Do you understand what I mean?
Being something, not necessarily doing something. I think we're past the doing, but I believe that my role here is to be the light to the degree that I can be it in this, because
yeah, this stupid Wi-Fi is in and out. Can you can still hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Here's my honest question, Joann. What makes you think you could fuck anything up?
It isn't about me screwing it up. It's about me being able to say, I can 100% do the job I came to do because I can see the difference between light and dark. And I came here to go light.
I understand. But there is some of what you're saying that is still you being in control and you wanting to only do things right. It's according to humanity and your personal preference. Hear me out. I know the words sound highest, but I'm still, it's like saying, I want to know the right words to say in this situation. Well, what if the words fuck you slip out of your mouth and you're like, oh, fuck, that wasn't light.
But if I'm in my mastery, I will say, oh, that doesn't sound like light, but it must be because I'm being guided.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I had
what I'm saying, there's a worry inside of you that you could screw this up. If you just let yourself be and know that a divine force moves within you, that you cannot go off the trails. It's impossible once you give yourself to the light of you to go off the rails.
We're at odds because it's not that I feel that I'm going to go off the word for me is discernment. I have to have the ability to see. To see
what?
The difference between dark and light. Everything is not the same. Everything is not equal.
Okay, but
duality. There is that light. There is that non-light.
Okay, I'm asking you a real question. Are you having a light darkness differentiation in a 3D word, or are you in a 5D realm saying there's light and there's dark?
Who the hell knows? And I'm being really honest with that, because, sometimes it sounds like when I listen to you, it sounds like, oh my God, is my ego doing this? And then there are times I don't know whether my ego is doing it or not. I know what my intention is. My intention is not for my ego to be doing it, but I'm still hearing, you've got to be perfect. Well, my word, hell, I'm not perfect. I don't even know how to be perfect in this moment. But I do know the intent of where I want to go. I do know what is I want to be, even if I fall short of it.
And let me throw in, Leanne, you know and understand a lot more than we do. And even though or I should say you're aware, I don't feel like I'm aware of a lot of things. And I think that's where you see it, and it's hard for me sometimes, and maybe sometimes for Joann to understand, if that makes sense.
And I understand that. And I want you guys to understand that I'm also trying to find words to describe things that are words. Like, when you put words to something, we're in ego. We're in lower vibration. Like the isness of isness, the light of the light does not need, it does not have any words to explain. At the moment you even say I am, you've just put it into a container and limited it in some ways, right? So like I'm trying to find ways and vocabulary words to not only explain something that's unexplainable, but also to take you from the understanding mind that is seeking logical explanation, which is an instrument that is incapable of understanding anything that is actual real light. Okay. So I'm trying to find ways to get you into a state of understanding with vocabulary that doesn't exist in a mind that doesn't function for that. You understand the struggle on my end.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's why what's encouraging is to be able to sit here and be able to say what I'm saying, and for Holly to say what she's saying, and Karen and Sandra to say what we're saying, because it's just, I'm trying to find my way through. So I'm like, what?
Yeah, we're all doing that.
So
let's all
do we need
what, Karen?
So do we need to have discernment? If we're sending light, it doesn't matter if we're sending light to light or light to dark.
You guys are still in a battle of light and darkness where I'm losing it because there's no such thing as darkness.
There you go. Okay.
There's no darkness. There's the illusion of darkness. There's the
illusion.
In the 3D world, in the world of duality, separation from godliness, you can perceive, even from the higher self of you can transparently, transmutationally, transpersonally become aware that in the world of duality, we categorize things. And I'm not even going to use the word discern. I don't like that word because I think we're disagreeing on even what that word means. So you can categorize the light and the dark, the positive, the negative, but none of that actually exists. And that's why I'm saying we're having a 3D conversation about a 5D topic. I need you guys to get up to 5D for a second. So if you come into 5D, there is no battle for you to fight against the darkness in the 3D world. If you fight the darkness in the 3D world, knowing that you are of the light and you are the light, then you are feeding the darkness. You're validating the darkness, fighting the darkness. There is no to fight darkness. It is so counterintuitive and so counterproductive when you look at it from that 5D world. And that's what I'm trying to explain is from the 5D, you don't need to discern shit. You need to a fucked up system. Nothing about the system works. Nothing about it's right. Nothing about it is real. Nothing about it is clean except for you. And you don't need to fix this world. You don't need to don't fall in.
Is discernment. What you're using is that you're using the ability to see.
I'm aware.
Well, then be aware. I mean, maybe that's the word I want, is awareness.
Let's use that word. Okay. In my awareness, I am aware that there's a third dimensional construct that is based on a system of dualistic nature. I am aware that I was once in the matrix of 3D and living on a spectrum of egoic positivity and negativity. The full range of experience of myself, egoically embodied, none of which is my actual true light. I could put a certificate, do all the good girl things, and I would look like a good girl, full of light. I could look like a spiritual guru. I could have the beats. I could chant. I could be the vegan. I could do all that stuff and look like a false light. Or I could go into the darkest of the darkest. I could be a murderer. I could be a manipulator. I could be a liar, a cheat, a con artist. I could be all those fucked up things. I could be one of anything. Like there's a whole spectrum of shitty. But there's
Which is what we came to experience.
no.
Not now, not in this one, but is it not true
You
that part of what we came to do is to go through a series of experiences to find our way back?
to find
That
your way
we
back.
were about experiences.
To find your way back, to find out how to unplug the matrix so you could restore your own personal divinity.
To
Not,
be who we were, yes.
not so you could save the world and bring,
No,
not so you could save the world to bring it with you.
yeah,
Even,
yeah.
even you being in this world, having any kind of positive effect is still a play of consciousness between you and your outer perception of consciousness, which is only a mirror of yourself. Everything you experience externally is a mirror of yourself.
All of it.
So if you see darkness, find that and clear it with your rays and transmute the darkness internally, externally. And you will never be in that situation again. If you are victimized in your karmic stories, then you will find victimization out here in your worldly experience. Maybe because you get victimized, maybe because you get mugged, maybe because you get raped, maybe because you get harassed. You'll be victimized by something, or you'll see other people getting victimized. But why is the victimization story in your story at all? When there's plenty of people in this world that don't deal with that victimization story. They have lots of other stories, but the world out here has all options, all possibilities, and you are going to synchronize with the vibrations that you came here to yield for you. For you, because that's the ray you're training on. You are learning to not be a victim if that's the case. So you are on a violet flame anti-victimization transmutational activity process. And that's the school you're in. So the grand totality field, which has all possible karmic experiences, all possible versions of everything, can train you on any single frequency. How are you supposed to build those muscles if you're not?
Get it. I got it.
Cool. And then once you stop and you realize, oh God, I'm always victimized. That's my ray. That's my frequency. It's a purple problem. And you start calling on your purple and you increase your muscles and you get your purple muscles and you get purple muscles and you get purple power and you get a purple heart and you get a purple brain and you get purple energetics and purple grids and purple boots and purple shields and purple isness and purple godliness and purple, and you increase all of that. Then instead of being a victim, you become a victorious being. And now you are victorious in a world that now attracts victoriousness to you. And you start seeing victory everywhere. And all of a sudden, you break the seal, you cross the line between the lack and the abundance of your particular frequency you came here to experience. And then when you cross that line, all of a sudden, everything starts to be victorious. Woo! I made the cake. It came out right, as opposed to every other cake I ever made in my whole life. Got flat, got broken, cracked on top, and it never came out quite right. This cake that I just, and I literally mean I baked a cake and it came out right. Notice I baked a cake and it came out right, as opposed to baked a cake and it was wrong. Okay. I got in the car and I had a great experience. I found my way to the point that I was going to, and everything was all right, not all wrong. And you start experiencing life as a field of everything is all right.
All good.
And it builds, that muscle builds into victoriousness. I manifested something. Oh, I used to get it all wrong. It never manifested right. Okay, now all of a sudden I put it out there so easily. I'm just being purple. I'm like putting my thought out there, and next thing you know, my thought shows up. That was so all right. There's no, yeah, and it's, well, get it deeper. And I love that you got it. We're on the same page now. I can feel everybody locking into this. You do not need to fix or change the world. It's perfect. It's a classroom. It's created by God. So people like you and I can come here and evolve ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. We're not here to save the world. And the violet flame transmutation over the next 2,000 years. Yes, we're going to create some improvement in the system, because ultimately it would be fabulous and wonderful if souls that are unawakened. You're already awakened. The unawakened ones still need the violet light to wake them up.
Mhm.
And yes, while we're here evolving ourselves, yes, we can still say to the person next to us, hey, you got a beautiful light in you. Find it. Figure it out. Go be that. Wake the fuck up. You're not a victim. You're victorious. Figure that shit out. Get on the path, right? Yes, we can say those things. Yes, we can impact people one by one, even in grand collectives. We can teach classes. We can speak to thousands of people. We can do all the things. We can write the books. We can send the memoirs. We can touch people's hearts and minds and spirits all day. We can pray for them all day long. But if you start seeing people as wounded victims, you are feeding that.
Yeah, I understand
If
that.
you see them as sick and broken,
I understand.
you're feeding that. I don't care if you think you're throwing rays in their direction. I do not, and I do not, and I do not, and I don't believe Jesus did either. I don't think Buddha did either. I'm pretty sure that anybody who was a great healer teacher walking this earth didn't either, did not look at people and say, oh, well, that one's fucked. Okay.
Mhm.
Sick. No, they looked at people and they saw God.
Wholeness.
They saw perfection. They saw wholeness before the person saw the wholeness. Okay. If you look at the body as an instrument of transmutation, no different than the mind of you as an instrument of transmutation, all you need to do is connect to it with great infinite love, surrender to it, open your channel of love to it, open your channel of light to it, and say, how may I serve you? I am bowing to the divine potential and the perfection that is possible here. How may I be a conduit of that? How may I be an open channel to that? How may I love you into healing? How may I provide for you a higher resource? How can I be the God energy that you are needing in this moment to create an instantaneous, miraculous, transmutational healing? And in order to be able to do that, you have to consider the fact that you are capable of this. You have to understand the fact that you are actually capable of this. Because if you go in as a healer, doubting that you can be a healer, you're not going to heal shit. If you go into something as a warrior, doubtful that you're going to win a battle, you're not going to win shit. There is no battle to fight except for coming from within yourself.
Yeah.
You have a battle between you and your power. You have a battle between you and what you think is your love. You have a battle between your ego and your higher consciousness. Those are the only battles you are ever fighting. You have a battle between your own judgments and your right to be you that you've always been told by everybody on this planet. You don't have a right to be you. You're even hearing right now that I'm telling you, you don't have a right to be what you're thinking and feeling. That's not the case. I'm saying go ahead and feel that, but note that that's your three-dimensional experience of a lower version of yourself. It's not your full truth. It's not your full potential. It is just another perfect place that you are standing on that perfect journey that you're on, somewhere on the point from beginning to end, from awakening to mastery, somewhere on here, you're at the perfect position to learn the perfect lesson that takes you to the next perfect space. Even if something gets broken, to get fixed, even if something gets dismantled, to get improved, even if something gets shadowy, to get light, even if something else arises from you for the umpteenth gazillionth fucking time, and you're like, fuck, I did this already, right? Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. But do it differently. Surrender to it. Love it. Surrender to it. Love it. Don't villainize it. Don't make it wrong. Don't attack it. Don't judge it. Don't criticize it. Don't hate it. Notice I'm listing the rays. Don't fight it. Blue. Don't tell it it's stupid. Yellow. Oh, you're stupid for thinking that. No, my body's not stupid for being sick. Instead of thinking my body's stupid and it's fragile, green ray, fragile, weak, green ray, it's not fragile or weak. It's transmuting something. Shut the fuck up and help it. That's what I tell my, shut the fuck up, Leanne, and help it. How can I help this? Get on its team. And I know I sound angry right now, and I'm not angry.
No.
Right?
You don't.
With you, not with you, because I too, in my humanity, 3Ding, I get rambunctious about how hard it is to be higher selfie and to remember higher selfiness. And if you guys think that I'm frustrated at you, I promise you, I am not frustrated at you, not even in the least. I don't look at you not one single bit as having not gotten it. Hold on a second. Let me finish for a second. I wish I could do it for you is where my frustration is. I wish I could say the right magic words that you would just borrow my heart, borrow my consciousness, borrow my aurora for a minute and have what I have. And I'm not even saying it's better or worse. I want to share that with you. And if I'm frustrated about anything, it's just my love for the light inside of you, the magnificence inside of you, the brightness and beauty inside of you that I know wants to emerge. I'm rooting for the victorious 2,000-year plan from now moment too. It hurts me to see you guys struggling. And yet, like a mom with kids, I suppose, although I don't have that experience, like you got to let them struggle to figure it out. I get it, but like sucks. So I'm going to leave it there and you guys can share as much as you want. I'm so glad we were
Yeah, I think I had the aha moment with you the other day. The part that I couldn't connect was the oneness with the individual as opposed to the grand government thing. And I got it. I got it. I think I got it. The transpersonal to the government. I couldn't. I got the transpersonal with the individual. I didn't understand it with the government that I was going to send prayers to. That's where I didn't understand.
Love that. But consider this, Holly, if you were learning how to work through justice and victimization and get your power back and your right back from something that feels like it took your rights, you're going to project that lesson, that training for yourself on the government. Because the government's the government, it's not personal. So you can put all that angst and all that anger and all that hatred and all those feelings that you need to feel to clean those feelings up, and all that experience of like, I'm judging the judges and I don't like the justice you're supposed to give me justice, but I'm experiencing injustice, and like, where are my Bill of Rights and blah, blah, blah. It's so appropriate that you would put your violet flame lessons into that department of your field. Right? Whereas with your love, you're not gonna learn about how to love with your government. You're gonna learn how to love with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, with children. You're gonna put that lesson in some other more appropriate aspect of your life. You might learn about your abundance through your career. And that could be the compartment that your abundance golden ruby ray training lands in. But then somebody else could put their justice into their career department. It's like, think of it like the 12 houses of the zodiac, and you're distributing all your lessons into different compartments of your life. You know, Karen's working on learning to be a healer on her green ray, right? She wants to be a healer for others, for herself, and she wants to work on her worth. She wants to take on all the green ray themes. That's where she's at right now, looking to master all of that stuff. She shared that with us. And so, of course, she's having trouble in health, in worth. All that anti-green stuff is coming up. And then she's getting pissed off about it because she's like, what the fuck? I'm supposed to be green. Yeah, no, this is being green. It's squeezing the sponge of all the things that were anti-green and all the consciousness behind it and all the lessons behind it, and the frustration of being separated from your green causes great pain. The separation from being separate, from the experience of being separate from your justice and your divinity and your love and your power, causes great pain. That's a soul level ache. That's suffering. Yeah. And when you get on the advanced parts of your spiritual training and getting closer and closer to that mastery point, that enlightenment point, you're going to have those pockets come up. You're going to have just this ages and ages and ages of longing for that thing that you've always wanted to get back to. The longing for it's one of the hardest pieces to get through. It's one of the hardest pieces, and yet it is as easy to get through as anything else. Instead of running away from it and trying to find a solution and making it unconsciously wrong, you don't realize you did, and separating yourself from that too, you go, oh, let me turn myself to it. Like, let me hone into it. Let me just stop running from it. Let me stop avoiding it. Let me stop judging it and then trying to fix it, change it. Even healing or being a healer in a 3D kind of way means I'm going to attack what's wrong. That's not healing. So even if I'm out there researching how to fix this thing, I'm actually against it. I'm anti it. I'm opposite. I'm over there. I'm over there. And I'm telling you the only way to start healing anything, improving anything, blessing anything, providing for anything, creating anything, any positivity. The only thing you have to do is turn towards it and then stop resisting it. Stop resisting it. You don't have to love it, but you have to love it unconditionally. Let me take the word unconditional. Let me take the word loving out of it. I have to be unconditionally acceptant of it. I accept it. I accept. Oh, I broke my toe. Okay. Oh, I'm broke. Okay, I accept this. This is just one more experience inside the grand totality field of karma that I'm meant to experience. And I appreciate it. These are pink ray words. I accept it. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for it. Why am I grateful for a broken toe? Because I don't know what the fuck is going to happen here, but I'm going to improve and I'm going to grow and I'm going to learn something I never knew before because this is new. And you land back in to what the ultimate launching pad is, which is trust. Blue. I trust that whatever's going on here, it's for my highest and best good. The universe is not against me. The toe is not against me. Disease is not against me. This is another opportunity for me to learn something and grow something and to be my rays. And so as I turn my attention and I diffuse all my resistance, as I just sit with it, as I observe it with my awareness, as I stop pointing my swords of anger at it, put my sword down until I can channel only my blue energy through my sword and not my fury, not my fear, I should say, because if I'm pointing my sword with fear, that's a huge no-no. That's not being blue. If I'm afraid of this, I'm not afraid of you. And these are like literally the three things to dismantle, right? I'm not afraid of you. That's blue. I'm putting down my fear so I can raise my blue sword of blue light, which is faith-based, spirit-based. I am putting down my ignorance about it. Seek me to understand you. Let me bring my awareness to you. Let me be a witness of you. That's awareness, being awareness. Like I'm going to be aware. Oh, I'm aware that my hand is here. And I'm aware there's space between my fingers. And I'm aware that there's a line here and there's a line there. And this is how big. And, I'm just going to be aware of I'm going to be aware of it. I'm not changing it. I'm just being aware of it. I'm putting myself in awareness connection to it. I'm not afraid of my hand, although it's very powerful. It could come and grab and squeeze my face and poke my eye, and it could stick its finger down my throat, and it could do a lot of shit, right? But I'm not afraid of it. I'm just going to sit here and not be afraid of it. I'm going to be aware of it. I'm going to be pink too. Notice blue, yellow, pink. And I'm going to be pink. I'm going to be absolutely unconditionally accepting of it. And I'm going to appreciate it because whatever the fuck it is, it's for me. It's not against me. It's for me. The lack you're feeling is for you. The pain you're feeling is for you. The thing you see out in the world that's pissing you off, it's for you. The negative feeling you got going on, it's for you. And that's why I keep saying to you again and again and again, the only way to understand this and to operate differently is to be fifth dimensional inside the three-dimensional worlds. How would my higher self handle this? No fear, total witness, straight up observation, awareness. Awareness is love, love wisdom. Awareness is love wisdom. I'm already, just by being aware of it and not resisting it, not fighting it with fear, not attacking it with anger, not accepting it, not loving it, not hating it or feeling any negative. I'm all of a sudden pure spirit, and this has to receive the light because of it. And so it diminishes and it softens. And it disappears. You do that long enough, it disappears. Life is not against you. It is for you. And the part of this field that you are tapped into is directly tied to your race, directly tied to your experiences, directly tied to what you came here to learn and master. And it is very easy to forget that. And it is very easy to complain about it. But then find out what you're complaining about and stop complaining about complaining. Turn yourself towards your complaints. It's your smartest part of you. Whatever you are complaining about the most is exactly the lesson you're learning. Turn towards your complaints and be like, talk to me. Please tell me. Talk to me. You're my best friend right now. You know, I had a conversation with somebody this morning by text. She had a cord that came back that I cut a couple weeks ago. And I said to her, it's not the same person that's plugging in here. I said, what it feels like is that place that you're getting plugged into is an intuitive mechanism. Your cords are not just things that you're victimized against, right? Like even your cords are not victimizing you. Energetic cords are intuitive messengers. They're telling you things about people. And when you have a port where lots of cords come in, and then somebody new with that same shitty vibration comes in, you're going to feel that same pinchy thing in your same spot when that cord gets tucked into, right? So for example, simple example, at the rear of you by your sacrum, on the left or the right of the sacrum, if you've got people that plug into you, they are a pain in the ass. Okay? Your left side might be your females, your right side might be your males. It might not be quite so divided. But there's a point in the back of your sacrum where pain in the asses plug in. And it will pinch your hips. It will cause sciatica. It will get your sacrum out of alignment. It will knock out your tailbones a little bit more root chakra, but your sacrum and your pelvic tilts and all of that stuff will get offline when you've got an energetic cord plugging in there. Why? Because it's a pain in the ass. And if you realize who it is that's a pain in the ass, just cut the cord, clear the cord, say thank you very much for the information. I appreciate it. Now, shut down the door. Shields back up. Now, it's only going to be a physical pain if you didn't notice it coming in at the back of your aura 5 feet away from you. If you pick up things back there, they don't have to become physical. If you pick up things in the emotional field, they don't have to become physical. If you pick up things in the mental field, you don't have to become physical. But when all else fails, your body is your last line of information and defense. And it will tell you when you're getting hit. It will tell you when you're getting manipulated. It will tell you when you're under attack. It will tell you when there's a pain in the ass around. So if we get upset about having a cord and the next reaction is, fuck, why? I cleared this cord a million times. I can't believe I'm so ineffective. Why am I getting this cord again? Next thing you know, I'm worried about the wrong thing. Right? So I'm telling this girl on the phone, I'm like, yeah, listen, I want you to meditate on this. You now have 2 instances very close together where 2 different people, and I'm convinced it's 2 different people, are coming in through that same place. So there's a theme that this receives. It's a message to you. I want you to find the message. She came back to me in 3 seconds. She goes, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. The first person that this was about, I identified immediately. And the problem with that one was this. And then 5 seconds later, fast forward a month, she's got another person that just came into her life who's exhibiting the same exact symptoms. And now that point is penetrated again, and she's having the same exact pain again. And I was like, oh, how cool is that? Thank you, messenger. You attracted. Now she got pissed off about attracting the same person. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I always attract these unavailable men, let's say, for example, or whatever. That's not the point of the journey here. That's not the point of the lesson. To beat yourself up is not the point of the lesson. Ever, always, never, ever, ever. It is to recognize that my body is a divine instrument. My energetics are a divine instrument. There is no such thing that attacks me. There is no such thing as being attacked. If an entity clings on to you, it's an experience of yourself. Great, let's do this. I've never dealt with this entity before. Maybe I can help a soul transition. Maybe it has a message for me. Maybe it's coming in from somebody that I actually knew that I have unresolved business for. Maybe it makes me feel a certain way to have an entity attack me, like I'm completely powerless, which, by the way, is probably the lesson you're here to learn. And if it hits your powerlessness button, well, then figure out what ray that is. Call in that ray. Power up. You are not powerless in any situation. You are full of nothing but power, divine power. But how do you get into that right divine power? You white ray out. You plug into your divinity and you eliminate all non-divinity. Or maybe it's a different ray that this is tapping into. Okay. Maybe you are on the ray that's trying to learn how to create boundaries. And you've done it with all the humans, but now you have to do it with the spirit world. And that's a blue ray lesson, creating boundaries. Expressing your free will. Well, it can be a blue ray lesson, it can be a white ray lesson. Sometimes it's one of each. But a lot of times creating a boundary, saying no, putting up a force field and being protected from something you say no to of your own free will, which you have every right to do, is very blue. Maybe you haven't said no. I worked with somebody a couple weeks ago who was a natural medium who was so fucking freaked out because she didn't know how to say no to certain ones and yes to others. Like nobody even told her that you don't have to talk to everybody. And she was told by a spiritual teacher many, many, many years ago that if you open the door to the light, you equally have to open the door to darkness. Just like Myrna used to tell us, right? Myrna said, not everything in the universe is love and light. I bought that for 5 seconds. And I got corrected, by the way, because yes, she's accurate from the 3D perspective. If you are 3Ding your light, it's like saying lower magic as opposed to higher magic. And yes, if you are lower magicking, yes, you open yourself to everything. Because in the world of duality, you are only going to ever experience duality. And if that's how you're doing your spirituality in your dual world, then yeah, you're going to get light and you're going to get dark. But you guys know me. I don't do that shit. I don't deal with it. I choose not to. And I have every right to choose not to. I'm not here for that. It's a waste of my time. First of all, I'm not interested and I don't give any credit to it. There's no such thing as darkness. There's no such thing as darkness. There's only God. There's only source. There's only light. And inside this construct where it appears as if there's duality, even that's a sacred illusion. And the purpose of the darkness in this world is a light purpose. It is to give you a choice between being in the darkness or being in the light. And the ultimate goal of darkness is to send you away from it and into the direction of your light. It's meant to scare the bejesus out of you so you look for something better and brighter and more godly. It's not so like you'll run into it and be like, I love being demonic. Said no one ever. Even the darkness aspect of this world and the egoic construct of duality is designed to split you up and send you to your light. Okay, my loves? So do not fear this 3D. Do not change the government. Do not hate any part of it. Recognize that everything is 100,000% a reflection of the lessons and the journeys that you came here for in lots of varying degrees and on various levels of your consciousness. It's all very organized. It's all very structured. It's all very perfectly lined up for you to walk the journey lifetime after lifetime, if that's what it takes you. It's all here for you. It all loves you. And even when you go through your darkest moments, God's still there and you're never alone and you're never abandoned to this darkly infused world, perceptively. You're never not in God's hands. You're never not in your light. You just think you are. So every time you struggle with anything, assume you fell from your fifth dimensional beingness and you landed actually without knowing it in your 3D.
Okay.
And climb the ladder, get back up into your golden self, get back into your white channel, get back into your I am presence and connection, ditch the landline, get back into your 5G, and then upgrade it to 12G. Fifth dimension, now connecting to the 12th dimension, source. Okay? Get your rays on and take a deep breath. There's nothing wrong with you. Notice what you're turning away from and then turn yourself to it with so much sacredness and love. Stop doing the fixing and the saving of this world. There's nothing to fix and save. Just be you. That's it. Just be you. And on that note, my loves, I've got a session in 2 minutes. So I love you.
Can I say it?
Say that. Go ahead, champ.
what I wanted to say to you was when you were talking about not being angry, I wasn't hearing anger, I was hearing passion.
It is. And
I
they're both,
was hearing passion of what you were saying, and hopefully that's what you heard when I was talking to you. It's not anger, it's wanting to know. It's the frustration of not understanding. And to me, that's passion.
I agree
So I
with
thank you for today because a lot of what you're saying, the little boy, ding, 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 ding. So I got it. I got it. It's now to remember it.
Right.
and if you
But I
don't,
got it.
we'll remind you again.
And
And
again,
don't hate forgetting.
But then, the other thing I would say to you too is thank goodness for a group like this that I can say what I need to say. You all say what you need to say. We all say it and then dismantle it, work through it. And I don't have another place that I can do that. So I appreciate that a lot.
And I want
I
you,
really appreciate that a
I
lot.
want you guys to tell me when you're feeling like that. I want to tell you, I want you to tell me that. Okay. I don't want you to hold back. I want you to ask me the hard questions. I want you to tell me when you're in difficult places. And we'll keep practicing 5Ding, rising above. We'll keep practicing that. And it's just what we're training in this year. We have this whole year. That's our one and only theme is get up into 5D. That's it. One theme, get up there and do that and be there.
And there's a lot of things now, like it will take you from the 5G to the 3D, to the 5D from the 3D. So
Yeah.
you have to be like, I'm always aware of it. Like, wait, I have to go back to 5D because you feel the shift when you're like in a lower vibration now.
And I don't mind you being 5D beings in a 3D world, but do not forget your 5Ding. Okay? Be golden. Be golden. All right. And I appreciate you saying that it's passion. You're absolutely right. And on the golden ruby ray, where passion lives and breathes, the frequency of passion, compassion, grace, on the opposite end of the spectrum is fury, hatred, and anger. And the reason that I get concerned about appearing angry is because I am very conscious that passion is oftentimes misunderstood and or misqualified. And I appreciate you letting me say that I'm really not angry. And I love that you connected it to passion. Thank you for giving us that word. Thank you for reminding me of that word. And that is exactly what it is. I am passionate about this. I'm passionate about your light. And, I oftentimes say that Uriel is furious, but it's not anger. It's fierce passion, right? And he is furious for your light, as if he's like in love with you, madly, passionately in love with the light of you. And I feel that force passionately inside of me when I talk like this, and I get so intense, but I unleash that a little bit with you guys because I know you can handle it. And I know you might even need it. You know what I mean? And I know that I can be that with you. And this is a place where I get to practice getting comfortable with that without knowing that with the knowing that it doesn't have to come across as anger. And I appreciate that. That's part of my lessons. And I thank you for that. Okay. All right, my friends, I love you so much. I got to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne.
It as you close down, and do me a favor, just close your eyes for 5 minutes and just meditate on what we've talked about. Integrate this conversation. Okay. And I love you very much, but do me a favor, integrate in a white channel as a golden being, put on your crown, let your 7 rays come in, and don't do anything else. Let them do you. Okay. I love you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
Thank